This is part 2 of my big ass book haul. And last time it was all my used books, and that was 21 books total. This one's gonna be a little more. It's 35. It's all of the books I've bought new, either out of pocket with gift cards or combination. I'm not gonna justify why I bought them. I bought them because I have money to spend on books and because I fucking wanted to. So I'm just gonna try to tell you what I like about the books, and you know, that's what we're here for, right? To see books and to hear about books. Let's get into it. Okay, very tippy top of the stack. I bought the first book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. This is The Color of Magic. I've wanted to read this series for a while now, and I can't find it used. So I went and sprung for a brand new copy of this. I hate this cover. I hate the mass market paperback covers in this. They're so hideous, but this sounds so cool. If you don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of Neil Gaiman. I've seen him give talks live at this point. I follow him on social media. He's very cool. He's a cool dude. His family is pretty cool. And his works are very cool. So if you haven't read Neil Gaiman, I highly recommend it. I personally, my favorite is The Ocean at the End of the Lane, which, by the way, if you live in the UK, is going to be at the National Theatre, I think. That's where it's going to be. But they made it into a play, and I wish I could fucking fly over there and see it, because the commercial for it looks so fucking bomb. And, yeah, that's a bummer. I really hope it gets broadcast or, like, recorded, so I could maybe, you know, purchase it to view from home, or maybe it goes international, but I'm not counting on that with COVID and all that shit. But Terry Pratchett, if you don't know, Terry Pratchett co-authored, fuck, which one was it? Good Omens. Jesus Christ, my brain. He co-authored Good Omens with Neil Gaiman. So, it's another fantasy writer. He is unfortunately deceased at this point. But I am really excited to read Discworld, so I bought it. And then I have a couple nonfiction here. I bought, this is astrology related. I'm very into astrology, very into tarot and crystals. I've showed you guys this shit. You know this if you subscribe here. Anyways, I bought this book, and this is You Were Born for This. This, I saw something from one of my favorite tarot readers. I will put her name probably here in her socials maybe. But she was reading this and she highly recommended it, and it looks pretty bomb. It talks about like all the signs and your sun, your moon, and your rising sign, and how these play a role in your life. It specifically focuses on those. This would be, I think, considered a little bit more on the like moderate, maybe lower advanced astrology. If you're looking for something that is like beginner friendly, I do have a book. Shit, sorry. I do have a book that I recommend here if you're looking for like more beginner friendly, and this is Astrology for Real Life. And this is actually a workbook. As you can see, like I have highlighted quite a bit. I have not worked, see, some writing. I have not worked entirely through this workbook, but this is definitely informative. Like you can use this as like a study tool. So if you're trying to learn more about astrology, I highly recommend this book. Anyways, side tangent. I also bought Forest Bathing. This is a very short, informative novel about something I already know a lot about, but honestly, this cover is just gorgeous. And I debated whether or not I should buy this, because it talks just about like the health benefits of forest bathing, essentially. And I don't care if I know quite a bit about this already. This book is gorgeous, and I wanted it. It's very aesthetic, and yeah, I don't know. It's just pretty, and it's about something that I'm really passionate about, which is being out in nature. Something people don't know a lot about with me is that I at any opportunity want to be barefoot outside, like with my toes in the fucking dirt, because there's just something so, I don't know, healing about it, I guess. Okay, so another one I bought is The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood, and this got me because I think the main character is an orc. I could be wrong, but I think the main character in this is an orc. And my husband's D&D character is a half-orc. I love him so much. And I really would like to read more, like, non-human main characters. So I've heard really great things about this series, so I'm pumped to read this. Like, I might read it very soon, even though I just bought it and I feel guilty doing that. But, and then I bought Lore, because another thing that I'm very into is mythology. I like Greek mythology. I very much like Norse mythology, as you will see in a minute. I have another book that's mythology focused, but I would like to read more of these. I don't know if this is a retelling? Is this a Medusa retelling? I am not entirely sure. But, I don't know if this is a retelling or not, but honestly the cover got me because I fucking love Medusa. So, you know, a bitch had to get this book. And I really hope I like it. I've heard pretty good things so far, so I haven't heard too much. There's not like a ton of hype other than people really liked the cover. So, and then I bought Flamefall. And I actually went out and bought this the day after I finished the first book because the first book is so good. So good. If you haven't read Fireborn, you need to read it. It's so good. And my only disappointment is that I have the first one in the hardback, but it's the old cover. And the new covers are stunning. And they match. But I bought the new one, in the second one in the new cover. And they don't match, but oh well. And I've owned the first one for quite a while. I just haven't gotten around to reading it until recently. And I regret putting it off for so long because I flew through that book and it destroyed me. Alright, moving on to one that's kind of self-helpy, but I do occasionally like to read those types of books. I have already finished this one. I am keeping it for my permanent collection because eventually I would like to prioritize rereading it and annotating in it. Because this book is beautiful. If you read this and you actually take some of the insights to heart, this book will probably change your life. And that is The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. Brené Brown is pretty well known in the psychology, self-help realm. And this is a very short book, and it's all about embracing being imperfect. And, yeah. This book is great. I really recommend it if anybody struggles with perfectionism and feelings of shame and self-worth. Really recommend you check this book out. I check out all of her works, to be honest, because they will change your life. If you put them, you know, to work. You really have to try to implement the strategies of self-talk that are discussed in this book. And the next one I bought is not a nonfiction. This is a fiction. It's post-apocalyptic. People have been like, I don't know about this, but it's The Electric Kingdom. And I maybe won't read it right away, but I did want to own it because it sounded very interesting. But maybe not the time for it right now. But I am glad to have it. Okay, and then I bought yet another nonfiction. And this is a dense book. So when I buy nonfiction, I typically buy things on social issues, climate/environmental issues, and like psychology, self-help, that type of thing. Yeah, so nature, psychology, and social issues like, you know, social justice, I have a couple here that are related to like homelessness and gentrification and that type of thing. I like to read those things. Those are the 3 categories of nonfiction I typically purchase. And this is Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything, Capitalism versus the Climate. And this book is not only like rather large, like it's thick, but it is so, like, it's heavy, it's dense. And these pages are not really that thin, they're standard thickness, but like, the print's rather small. It's a pretty hefty book. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to this one, because I'm still reading, oh, what is it called? It's about building native backyard habitats and talks about biodiversity and the loss of biodiversity. I'll go into it in another video that I'm filming about my recent reads. But I'm slowly working my way through that one, and that one's also a dense boy. So, I'm learning a lot, and I like that. Okay, so that's them. I got 2 more here. Okay, so the last 2 here before I take a break. I just bought these. I bought the Forever Sea, and this one is about the main character's grandmother walks off the edge of her boat into the Forever Sea. It sounds like it's Portal fantasy to me. Honestly, and when you look at the cover, it's like the Forever Sea looks like it might be like land. And there may be, I don't know, I'm really excited to read this. So I bought it. And then the other one about mythology. This is Norse mythology. Oh shit. Really? There we go. How much would that have sucked if I wasn't recording that whole time? Okay, so before my camera so rudely shut off on me, I was talking about the next book I bought, which is The Witch's Heart, and this is a Norse mythology story. I don't know anything about it, and to be fucking honest, I don't need to know anything about it to know that I will probably love it. Because like I said, a bitch loves mythology. So I bought that. And then I bought Harrow the Ninth, because I am very excited to continue this series. I absolutely fucking loved Gideon the Ninth. I've heard the second one is not as well loved, but I am very, very excited to read this. I'll probably put it off for a fucking year, like I did the first one, because I'm an idiot. But I have it. I can read it. Excited to have it. And then I bought the Graceling, which I used to own a used copy of this, but I'll be completely transparent and say it was the old cover, and the new cover, I don't want this stupid glare, the new cover is gorgeous, and it makes me want to read it, and all of the subsequent covers are also gorgeous now. So I bought this. I needed to treat myself on Monday, so I decided, you know what? I'm still really interested in this, and I still want to read it, so I'm just gonna buy it because the cover makes me happy. And then I bought Evicted, and this is a nonfiction book that talks about poverty and profit in the American city. I'm assuming this talks about homelessness in some respect, and probably gentrification. So I I'm pumped to read this. Maybe not right now. Got some stuff going on with my living situation that this might not make me very happy if I read it right now. So I think I'm going to put this off for a little bit, but I am going to read it eventually. And then I got Wild Seed by Octavia Butler. Now, she has a lot of books, and I hear they are really good, but this one, another booktuber posted it in a haul and summarized it, and if it has to do with gods, goddesses, immortals, and their fuckery, just like mythology, I am all about that, so I am really excited to have this one, and this will be the first book by her that I read. I really want to read it soon. It's not super long. It's like 300 pages. I could fly through this. Yeah. And then I bought Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This, I think it's just a memoir. And I like Trevor Noah. I think he's pretty funny. So I bought this and I want to read it. And I bought The House in the Cerulean Sea. I've not read this yet, but this is at the top of my TBR. Every time I pick a new book to read, off my shelf, I've been like, I really want to read that. But it just came out, and I have so many backlisted books that I try to prioritize those, when really I should just read whatever the hell I want. So, I'm going to read this very soon. I've heard it's very good, and I want to see what all the hype is about. And the author has another book coming out that I'm also very interested in reading, so. And then I got The Kingdom of Back, and this is about Mozart? Yeah, Mozart's sister. Yeah, and I think there's some fantasy / like music elements to this. Marie Lu tends to be kind of hit or miss for me. So we'll see, but the cover is beautiful. And, you know, I'm into music, so maybe I will love it. And then I bought a book about palm reading, which I have already read. I pretty much sped through this because it's pretty just layman's terms and stuff. It's not very technical, I guess is the word for it. So I've sped read through this, but I'm keeping it as part of like my astrology study and stuff. I am very interested in learning about palmistry. And numerology, I have a book on that too. I know a little bit at this point, but I still have to reference the books. So I'd like to get to a point where I know it and I don't have to reference the books anymore. You know? And then I bought Braving the Wilderness. This is The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. And this is another book by Brene Brown. I have not read this one yet, but it's another short one. And I want to read it, just maybe not right away. Anyways, at one point I hauled all of these new nonfiction books like all at once from Barnes & Noble because I just like went, I'm gonna buy a bunch of nonfiction today, and that's all I bought. Okay, and then I have a controversial pick, but I do want to read this because I do like a ACOTAR. I do like Sarah J. Maas. I do like her books. And this is recommended for lovers of Sarah J. Maas, so I'm sure you guys know what the hell this is. And that is From Blood and Ash. And I want to read this soon-ish, but I'm not dying to read it. From what I have heard, it's maybe not that great. We'll see. You know, a lot of people are harsh on this type of book when it's really just supposed to be for entertainment. So, we'll see. It's like really heavy though, so I bought that. Let's see, let's skip the manga real quick. Okay. On a whim, I bought The Art and Power of Acceptance, and this is like really pretty on the inside. It gets very colorful, as you can see. I think it's kind of like workbook style, and kind of has like testimony in it. The whole thing's very, like, relaxing looking, I guess. Like, meditative to read. I'm not in a huge rush to read this. I bought it mostly because I thought it was beautiful, and you know, maybe right now would be a good time to read this, although I'm sure it discusses grief, and I don't know if I need that in my life right now. Yeah, so this seems like a pretty beautiful book, and I will read it eventually. And this, I don't want to get flagged. There's a naked human body, well, mostly naked human body, on the cover of this book, so I'm just going to cover the top half of her. But this is The Body Is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love. Now, I've heard really good things about this book. Here's the cover. There is a beautiful woman on the front, and she is nude, and she has butterfly wings. and a flower behind her head. So anyways, this is about loving your body and self-love, and I need more of that in my life. And then I bought another book about climate change and the world burning and the world dying, and that's The Sixth Extinction. I've heard really good things about this. It's very informative. A lot of people recommend this if you're gonna buy like any book about climate change and extinction and how our impact on the planet is leading to our next extinction. This is the book to read. So, you know, right up my alley. And then right before the, is it a movie? Yeah, right before the movie came out, I got The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. I'm not the biggest fan of Patrick Ness. I've read 2 of his other books, and I wasn't a huge fan. But I got this. I actually bought this used. Whoops, this is in the wrong video. Anyways, I bought this used, and I said, why the hell not? So, I have not watched the movie. I could maybe do a comparison, but I'm only gonna read the first book. So, we'll see. You know, maybe it was pointless. Maybe I'll watch the movie and then I'll never read the book, which is usually what I do. But we are who we are around here. And then I got World of Wonders. I bought this around the end of the year, and it was the Barnes & Noble Book of the Year. It is illustrated on the inside, and it is a book about plants and animals and nature, and it's cute. It's cute. The cover is really pretty, and I saw this on the website, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I want it. So, look at seeing your little axolotl. Oh, it's so cute. This cover, cute. And then I got How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. I really like the Cruel Prince series. I didn't like the last book or the ending, really, but I am really interested in more of her work. I've read Tithe, and I did not like it. Like, I DNF'd it. But this is illustrated on the inside, and pretty, like gorgeous illustrations. Illustrations like every page. The ends, the book ends, are really pretty as well. Yeah, so I'm down. This is literally a work of art. So that's why I bought it, because I just couldn't resist. Like, look at this. Look at that. Everything about this book is gorgeous. So I wanted it. I think I bought this one and this one at the same time. Can you tell I was like on an illustrated edition at Kick? And then before we get into the manga, the last one that I bought is Rhythm of War. I bought this shortly after it came out. I haven't read Oathbringer yet, but I do want to collect all of these in the hardback at this point because they all have these bookend illustrations. This is very difficult to show you, but they are very, very pretty. Yeah, so I haven't read this. I haven't even read Oathbringer, but I will eventually, and I want them all in hardback now because they're freaking cool. I don't know if I've mentioned it in other videos, but I'm not the biggest fan of The Way of Kings. I liked Words of Radiance more. Way of Kings was okay, but like 3/4 of the book is a freaking slog, in my opinion, because there's a lot of like setup for the world and world building going on, and you're learning about politics, and it's a little like dry and depressing, to be honest. But if you can make it through Way of Kings and still want to continue, Words of Radiance is excellent. So I'm excited to read the 3rd book and then read Rhythm of War. I'm way behind. I'm always going to be behind in that regard because the books are freaking ginormous. So they take me like a fucking year to read. But they are good. Okay, so then getting into some of the manga, I've already read this one, the first one, of Radiant, but I have 1, 2, and 3. And I bought these new from my comic book shop because I get a discount. And I am digging this series. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. The art is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm into it. Yeah. I don't know what to say other than that. it's a pretty long series at this point, I think, so. And then I bought Solo Leveling, which is a manga, so Korean, I think, Korean manga. It is in color for most, for all of it. So like, it's in color. And therefore it feels really heavy when you pick it up, like it feels like a magazine. My husband read this already and he said it was pretty good, and he really wants to continue reading it. He has since been reading it online in scanulations, which, you know, to each their own. I am guilty of doing it occasionally too, but I really would like to own more of these. This looks pretty cool, and I haven't read it yet, but he said it was good, so I trust him. This one here. Okay. And then I got Zom 100, which I have read already. And this is by, so I think it's either on Netflix or Hulu. There's Alice in Borderland. If you haven't watched this series, it's really, honestly, very good. And this is written by the same person who wrote that. And you can tell when you read this, because the theme is very similar. Honestly, the art is really nice. And I can't talk apparently. I can't wait to read more of this. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, this is excellent. Excellent manga. The author is very talented, and if you have not watched Alice in Borderland, I highly recommend you do. My husband and I binge watched it. It's very good. I'm not sure if it's over or not, but it didn't conclude at the end from what I remember, so yeah, anyways. And then I bought Remina by Junji Ito, and just to add to my collection, because I am trying to collect all of the hardcovers. I am a Junji Ito fan. If you're into horror manga, kind of like almost like body horror a lot of the time, then I highly recommend if you are open to that. His art is phenomenal. I'm not even fucking joking. It's phenomenal. If you're into like, if you're into like very unique line work, like if you're into fine line tattoos, this is gonna sound really weird, but if you're into fine line tattoos or artwork that involves a lot of grayscale, but like talent with grayscale, like line work, ink, shading, then I really recommend you check out his works. Yeah. Like, I personally am all about the line work. I fucking love it. My comic book store that I bought this at has Junji Ito magnets, and I'm dying to have them, but maybe not until we have the house to ourselves, because I can't imagine what our housemate would think if I had Junji Ito magnets on the fridge. And yeah, so I think that is all of the new books that I bought. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, I'm pretty inconsistent right now because, again, shit going on in my life. But if you want to see more from me at any point, just subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys later. I'll see you later. Bye.
Have to be your biggest fan, and when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that, because you don't know who you're gonna be.
I'm gonna have to take a little breaky break soon because my camera is overheating. I got these new glasses. This is totally a tangent, but I love them. They're like iridescent. I'm gonna try to get through it. We can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay.